Welcome to the Wife Stories YouTube channel. New video every day, and don't forget to subscribe. Here we go.
I press my face into her pillow, breathe in slowly. There's a faint hint of her shampoo, jasmine, and something sweet, but also a trace of musk that doesn't belong to me. It's like a sour note in a pleasant tune, and the combination twists my stomach. I don't recoil. I just inhale it again, harder this time, letting it fill my lungs until it makes me dizzy. That's what I do now. Trace every small betrayal by scent, by taste, by the subtle shift in the air. It's late, or maybe early. Hard to tell. My head buzzes, but my body's calm, like I'm disconnected from myself. I set her pillow back in its place, smoothing the fabric. She's in the shower, or so I think, because the water's been running for a while. The house is so quiet otherwise. No traffic hum, no neighbor dogs barking. Just the steady hiss of water behind the bathroom door. I remember when we bought this bed. It was 7 years ago. We stood in the store, testing mattresses, laughing at how cheap and squeaky some of them were. I liked one that was firmer. She insisted on something softer. I caved in, like a fool, maybe, but that's how it goes in marriage sometimes. You compromise. You try to merge your preferences with someone else's, and it doesn't bother you. Not if you love them. I loved her. A lifetime's worth. And in that store, I was sure she felt the same. Now the shower stops. I remain still, half sitting, half leaning on the bed. Water drips behind the door. I hear her open it. Soft steps on the carpet. Then she comes into the bedroom, wrapped in a towel. She notices me there, eyes flicking to the pillow. She knows I've been smelling it again, because I do that more than I realize. She parts her lips as if to say something. But I say nothing. She lifts her chin, as if deciding not to speak, and disappears into the closet to get dressed. I think about telling her I know whose smell that is. But I just stare at the faint outline her body left on the sheet, that slight dampness from where she must have sat before heading to the shower. And in the silence, I can almost hear my own heartbeat. I close my eyes. I count to 5. Then I open them and walk out. I pretend everything is fine. Again. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. That morning, I'm alone in the kitchen. The kettle is on, boiling for tea. She likes tea more than coffee, especially when she's anxious. The clock on the wall ticks too loud, or maybe I'm just hyper-aware of everything these days. I set 2 cups on the table, place a tea bag in each. I check my phone for any messages. Nothing new. She comes in wearing a simple sweater, her hair still damp. She thanks me for making breakfast as if it's some gracious favor. The tension between us could snap a steel wire. She fiddles with her phone, probably hoping for a text, possibly from him. We used to talk freely over these breakfasts. I remember her excitement about a new exhibit in the gallery, or the way she told me about some ambitious plan to reorganize the art pieces. Now it's stilted conversation, polite, formal. She's stirring her tea in circles, over and over, the spoon clinking against the porcelain. My mind drifts to that first night I knew something was off. She'd come home late, smelling of perfume that wasn't hers. And something else. Smoke. No, not quite. Another man's cologne, maybe. A deeper musk I couldn't place. I asked if she'd stopped by a bar. She said, "No, I was just working late." I tried to believe her. But you sense these things, especially when you've lived side by side for years. A door quietly closes. A tiny piece of trust goes missing. You start noticing whispers behind the bathroom door, or hushed phone calls at odd hours. She sets the spoon aside, looks at me. "I'll be out for a bit. Errands," she says. The weight of her guilt is in her eyes, but she hides it well. For a moment, I see a flash of regret. Or is that fear? I just nod and sip my tea. She kisses my cheek. Automatic. Mechanical. There's no warmth in it. I let her do it, not flinching, and she walks to the door. As she grabs her purse, I watch the line of her shoulders. A slight tremor there. Something inside me stirs, An old longing maybe. I remember how her shoulders felt under my hands. That memory used to make me happy. Now it makes me feel nauseated. Then she's gone, and the door closes. I exhale, reaching for my phone. I'm half tempted to dial a number I should never dial. A one belonging to him. I want to hear his voice, hear him choke. But not yet. There's a part of me that wants him to realize he can't waltz into another man's family without consequences. The kettle hisses again. I forgot to turn it off, so I do, letting the steam dissipate. The clock ticks in that slow, maddening way. A steady reminder that time crawls when you're waiting for betrayal to unfold. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. I'm in my home office, where I usually check financial reports, sift through data for my job. The glare of the screen is harsh this morning. I open a blank document. I have this strange compulsion to record a message, something for my son to read someday, in case I'm no longer around, or in case the world shifts so drastically that he needs to hear what his father thought. I speak aloud, letting a voice recorder run. Dear son, I say, my voice cracking slightly. There might come a day you read this or listen to it. By then, maybe I'll be gone, or maybe things will be different. I want you to know something. Love doesn't die because of betrayal alone. It dies from the silence that follows. From the coldness, the refusal to speak about what happened. I stop. My throat feels tight. Did I just confess I've been silent too long? Perhaps. I press stop, but a part of me wants to keep talking, to keep explaining. I click record again. People make mistakes. They lie, they cheat, they do awful things. But the moment you decide to keep that to yourself, to carry that weight alone, that's when love suffocates. My chest hurts. I end the recording. Enough for now. I minimize the file and get back to work, pushing the personal aside. That's what I'm good at, or so I used to think. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. 2 days later, she brings home several gift bags. She sets them on the coffee table, says, "These are from a friend at the gallery." She insisted. Her tone is too rushed. My heart beats faster because I see the notes peeking out of each bag, slips of paper. I glance at them. The handwriting is definitely a man's. Strong, angular letters. She tries to shuffle them out of sight. I pick up one of the bags. Inside is a piece of jewelry, cheap trinket stuff, and a little note. I fish it out before she can protest. "For the brightest star in my life," it says, and the initials scribbled at the bottom are the same ones I found once on her phone. I remember it vividly, one text at midnight, which she claimed was spam. I was suspicious, asked about it. She shrugged it off. I dropped it, foolishly. I read that note, and I feel a heat in my cheeks, but I stay calm. I set it down as if it doesn't matter. Then I smile at her, a tight-lipped smile. She's on edge, eyes darting from me to the door. Maybe she wonders if I'll explode, but I don't. I stand, gather my coat, and say, "I need some air," and I walk out, just like that. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. I've known everything for a while now, from that first suspicious night. The night she came to bed smelling like a cologne that didn't belong to me. The first time I heard her whisper in the bathroom, foam pressed to her ear, voice breathy and urgent. The first time I noticed her phone screen light up with a male name I'd never heard before. The writing was on the wall long before I found that note, but I said nothing. I let my anger turn inward, forging a quiet plan. It's humiliating to admit that. As a man, you want to stand up tall and say, "I won't tolerate this." But I learned something about myself. Maybe I'm not the type to beg for her love or cause a scene. I'm the type who seethes in silence, who imagines the worst. Then I do something about it. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Later that same day, I'm sitting in my car in a deserted parking lot, calling Jim. I haven't spoken to Jim in years. He's an old college buddy, someone who walked a darker path. He's the sort of man who knows how to make problems disappear for a price. He picks up after a few rings. "Mike," he says, a slow drawl in his voice. "Long time." I swallow. For a second, I consider hanging up. But I can't. "Need a favor," I say quietly. He listens, letting me talk. I speak in half-coded phrases, but he gets it. He understands I want something done. No direct violence, no blood on my hands. Just a situation that makes the other man, this lover, fall off the grid. Ruin him from the inside. Let him dig his own grave. I hate that I'm at this point, that I feel driven to such an action, but the humiliation has burned a hole inside me. Jim agrees. "For a slice of the pie," he says, "we do it quiet, let the guy bury himself." "That what you want?" "Yes," I say. There's a tremor in my voice. "Yes, that's exactly what I want." Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Nights become a strange theater of faked sleep. She lies next to me, body stiff, and I pretend to doze off. I can hear her quietly texting. I can almost picture her tapping out messages, typing them with those excessive ellipses at the end. She loves to leave multiple dots when she's being coy. I used to find it endearing. Now it makes me feel sick. In the darkness, I think back to how she and I first met at a friend's party. How she slipped her hand into mine and said my name so tenderly. That memory has lost its sweetness. I wonder if she said his name the same way. My phone vibrates once. A text from Jim. "Got what we need. Call me tomorrow." I don't respond. I lie there, feeling her shift in bed. She's so close physically, but so far in every other sense. The bed squeaks under her weight as she moves away. I close my eyes, replaying the plan in my head. I hate that it's come to this. Hate that I can't simply walk away or have a civil conversation. Something in me craves to see him undone. Maybe it's petty. Maybe it's righteous. Maybe it's both. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. The next day, we set the trap. We repackage a gift, addressing it from the same name she used to receive those notes. I've arranged with Jim to switch the contents, some small item that I know will incriminate this man. Financially or legally, doesn't matter exactly how. If all goes well, he'll incriminate himself just by accepting it, or carrying it across state lines. A courier service will deliver it, so I won't have to show my face. He calls her phone to confirm. She picks it up in the hall, speaking softly. "Yes, that's wonderful," she says. She's excited. She tries to stifle it, but I can hear the smile in her voice. It cuts me to the bone, so I busy myself rummaging through a drawer, pretending not to notice. She heads out later, presumably to meet him. My heart's pounding all day, waiting for some news. Any news that this plan is in motion. Jim texts me a few hours after she leaves. "Mission accomplished. Wait 48 hours. That's all." I exhale. Now we wait. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. 2 days slip by in slow motion. She's jumpy, glancing at her phone incessantly. When it finally rings, she darts outside to answer it. I watch her from the window, pacing on the patio. She keeps saying, "Hello, hello." Then, "Justin, are you there?" But the line must be dead. She tries again, nothing. I see a flicker of genuine panic in her eyes. She calls him over and over. She leaves voicemails, asking if he's okay, if something happened. By nightfall, he's still not answering. No text, no word. She's nearly frantic by the time she comes to bed. I feign concern, asking, "Everything all right?" She tries to mask her worry, but it's too obvious. And though part of me hates her for betraying me, another part can't help but feel pity at the sight of her trembling hands. She's terrified that something has gone wrong. We climb into bed. The tension is so thick, it feels like the air itself is pressing down on us. She doesn't try to text anyone tonight. Doesn't roll away either. She just lies there, staring at the ceiling, tears gathering at the corners of her eyes. That's when I know. The man she risked everything for has vanished. He's not physically here to comfort her, to fill her with those sweet lies. He's gone. Maybe he's driven off into some unknown place, or maybe Jim's plan sank him deeper than that. I'll likely never know the details, and that's probably safer. She sobs quietly, tries to stifle it with the back of her hand. I can feel her shaking. She thinks I'm asleep, but I'm wide awake, heart pounding with that mixture of satisfaction and regret. Is this the victory I wanted? I'm not sure. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. She starts losing weight. Dark circles form under her eyes. She barely talks to me, only to ask if the mail came or if I've heard from our son's teacher. We exist in a muted haze. When I kiss her forehead before leaving for work, as I've always done, her skin feels colder than normal. She tries to smile. It never reaches her eyes. Sometimes I catch her scanning every message on her phone, reading them over as if they might contain a clue about what happened to him. Her reflection in the screen is haunted. One night, she says quietly, "I need to tell you something." We're in the kitchen. I'm washing dishes. The overhead light flickers with a faint buzz, adding a surreal tension. I pause, bracing myself. She hesitates, mouth opening then closing again. Finally, she just says, I've been distant. I'm sorry. I look at her, not saying a word. We both know this is about more than distance. Her voice shakes. I just hope you can forgive me. A lump forms in my throat. My chest constricts, but I manage a small nod. She steps closer, resting a hand on my arm. The contact makes me realize how long it's been since we touched like this. I love you, she whispers. I know I haven't shown it, but I do. My jaw clenches, and my voice comes out rough, nearly breaking. You don't have to say that. She looks away. Tears glisten on her lashes. She trembles. I recognize that fear in her eyes. The fear that I might push her away. The fear that everything's changed forever. It has, of course. But I don't push her physically. I let her hand remain on me. We stand there like that for a long time. Dishes half washed, water dripping from the faucet. Eventually, she pulls back, goes to the bedroom, and I'm left there in the flickering light, feeling hollow. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. At some point, I realize I've been writing letters to my son that I may never show him. They're just recordings on my laptop or scrawled notes in a journal. I write about love, about betrayal, about how a man can break and keep walking. I write that maybe it's better to face the truth than let it fester. But I also write about how sometimes we get swallowed by a thirst for revenge. That thirst can taste sweet and poisonous in equal measure. During those quiet moments, usually around midnight, my house dark except for the soft glow of a desk lamp, I replay the final steps of my plan. The gift. The phone calls that abruptly ended. His number vanishing. Jim telling me, he's got bigger problems than your wife now. The last text from Jim. He's out of the picture. I stare at the wall. My mouth tastes bitter. This is what I wanted, isn't it? Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. The days melt into a routine of silent tension. She's around me constantly, as though seeking reassurance, but also terrified of the truth. I keep expecting her to break down, to beg my forgiveness, to fling herself at my feet in tears. But she doesn't. She just becomes this ghost of a woman, walking through the house in a hush, glancing over her shoulder as if he might walk in at any moment. One evening, I'm in the living room, reading some mindless financial report. She appears in the doorway, hugging the sweater around her shoulders, though it isn't cold. Are you mad at me? She asks softly. It's such a naive question that I almost laugh. I set my papers aside. What do you think? She lowers her head. I don't. I mean, of course you're mad. She drifts off, trembling. Then she meets my gaze, tears in her eyes again. Where is he? She whispers, voice cracking. I feel my stomach clench. She's never openly asked that before. Never spoken so plainly about him in my presence. I don't know, I answer. My voice is absolutely calm. She stares at me. I see the question forming on her lips. Did you do something to him? But she can't bring herself to say it. She just breathes shakily, tears tracking down her face. I see shame, regret, raw guilt, and something else, a flicker of anger. Anger at me for not going into a rage. Anger at herself for destroying our marriage. I speak up. You remember how we used to love each other? How we talked for hours, planning our future? I used to think that was real. Was it? Her lips tremble. She tries to speak, but all that comes out is a half-choked sob. She nods, but I don't believe her. I push a little further. When did it stop being enough for you? Was it the nights I worked late? The times I put our son's needs ahead of taking you out? Or was it just boredom? She inhales sharply. No, she says, her voice unsteady. It wasn't that. I messed up. I was selfish. I never stopped loving you. But I needed what? I snap. My voice rises at last, the anger surfacing. What could he possibly have given you that I couldn't? She stands there, silent. Her shoulders start shaking. I'm sorry, she manages. That's all she can say. I want to push her further, demand every detail, but I don't, because I know it won't change anything. Eventually, she flees the room, sobbing. The overhead light flickers once, bright, and then dim, as if it's about to burn out. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. I once read somewhere that real revenge doesn't bring closure. It only deepens the wound. I'm starting to sense the truth in that. The house feels colder, emptier, even with both of us here. I check my phone. A new message from Jim. Everything good on your end? I stare at that text for a long minute, then delete it. I want no link to him, no record. I'm done. For better or worse, the deed is finished. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Time trudges on. She can't sleep. I hear her pacing at night, going to the bathroom, rummaging through the medicine cabinet for sleeping pills that don't help. I lie awake in bed, arms folded behind my head, eyes on the ceiling. I wonder if we'll ever find a way back. Sometimes I catch myself thinking, maybe we can salvage something out of this mess. But I feel my jaw clench. I remember that man's handwriting on those gift notes. Remember that sweet lilac scent of cologne on her skin. How do you erase that from your mind? She decays inside. I see it day by day. She's quieter, jumpier, and her eyes have lost that spark. As for me, I function well enough. I go to work. I cook breakfast. I take care of our son's needs. On the surface, I'm holding everything together. Underneath, I'm half dead myself. She doesn't know how to survive her lie. I don't know how to survive the knowledge that she was never fully mine in the first place. One morning, I find her at the kitchen table, staring at a blank piece of paper. She looks up as I enter, eyes haunted. I was trying to write a letter, she says, voice hoarse. But I don't know what to say. I don't answer. I open the fridge, take out the milk, pour it into my coffee. The only sound is the refrigerator's hum and the faint ticking of the old wall clock. Then she tries again. I'd want to tell you everything. It's just, I can't find the words. Do you think it'll change anything? I ask quietly. She looks down. Maybe not for you, but for me, I can't live with this anymore. Tears slip down her cheeks. I don't know how to fix us. She looks so small, so broken. Once upon a time, I would have rushed to her side, taken her in my arms, promised we'd work through it. Now I can't. Something's locked away inside me. I'm not that man anymore. I sigh, sipping my coffee. It's lukewarm, bitter. I don't know if we can fix it either, I say at last. But go ahead. Write. Do whatever you need. She nods, tears falling onto the paper. She doesn't try to hide them. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Later that afternoon, I sit in my office with the door shut. I open my laptop and play back the voice recordings I made for my son. Hearing my own voice describing love betrayal, and silence stirs an ache deep in my chest. I shut my eyes, letting the words wash over me, letting the shame flow through me. I think about the father I want to be for him, the example I'm giving. I think about what he'd say to me 20 years from now if he knew the lengths I went to just to get even. At one point, I press pause, hearing footsteps outside. She's walking back and forth, probably trying to gather courage to knock. She doesn't. Eventually, her footsteps recede. I press record again. Son, I was a fool, thinking revenge could solve what was already destroyed. If you ever feel humiliated, if you ever feel someone took your pride, remember, letting that hatred fester might eat you alive. Even if you get what you wanted, you might not escape the consequences. I stopped the recording, tears hot in my eyes. My voice had been on the verge of breaking. But I said it anyway. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk days turn into weeks. The updates about her lover are non-existent. He's vanished, or so it seems. She looks for him online, searching social media, scanning the news for accidents, arrests, anything. She finds nothing. That, more than anything else, torments her. I'm no saint in this scenario. Every day I watch her unravel, and every day I remind myself I orchestrated part of this. Jim might have set the fuse, but I lit it. Yet I can't bring myself to regret it fully, because in a twisted way, it gave me a sense of closure. He's gone, and that's one less ghost overshadowing my house. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. She surrenders first. It's a calm afternoon. The sky is overcast, the living room curtains drawn. She comes to me, eyes rimmed red from crying. Her shoulders slump as if she's carrying boulders on her back. I can't do this, she says softly. I can't live like this. I don't sleep. I don't eat. I just keep thinking. He's gone. And I hurt you. I hurt us. Her voice cracks, but she keeps talking. I know you probably hate me. Or worse, maybe you feel nothing for me. But I'm so sorry. I set down the newspaper in my hands. And what do you want me to say? She presses her lips together, tears sliding over them. Say you hate me, if you must. Scream at me. Anything. I exhale, feeling a numb heaviness in my chest. I don't know if I hate you. I'm just done. She flinches like I slapped her. Then she closes her eyes, tears slipping through her lashes. Please, she whispers, I'll do anything. Just let me try to make it right. For a moment, I consider it. I imagine telling her the truth, that I set her lover up, that I've known for months, that I let the rage inside me flourish until it turned me into someone else. But I don't. I can't. Instead, I just say, I'm not sure it's fixable. She breaks down, sobbing. I watch her sink to her knees, her face contorting. It's a pitiful sight, but I can't muster the compassion to comfort her. Instead, I stand, step around her, and leave the room. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. The next morning, I rise early. I make breakfast. Eggs, toast, coffee. The mechanical routine of it soothes me. She drifts in, looking pale. There are tear tracks on her face, and her hair is tangled from a night of tossing and turning. Sit, I say quietly, indicating the kitchen chair. She lowers herself onto it. I set a plate in front of her. She picks at the eggs with a fork, but barely eats. I sip my coffee in silence. Then, as if on autopilot, I begin ironing my shirt for work. The hiss of steam, the faint smell of cotton under heat. She's silent, watching me. I walk over, lean in, and kiss her temple. It's the smallest gesture, an echo of the habit we once had, but it makes her gasp quietly, as though she didn't think I'd ever touch her again. My lips barely brush her skin. It's not tender, and yet it's not cold either. Just a strange moment of contact. Then I turn away, leaving her to her silent despair. It's in these little things, ironing a shirt, making breakfast, that I rediscover a semblance of peace. Because now I know the cost of everything. Every gesture has a price, and she's paying in fear. I watch her wither day by day, uncertain what fate befell her lover, uncertain how to redeem herself. Meanwhile, I pretend nothing is wrong in front of our son. We keep the family facade. He's too young to understand, but kids sense tension. Sometimes he asks, "Mommy, are you sad?" She forces a smile, kisses his cheek, and says she's just tired. I suspect he sees more than we think. Occasionally, I recall the times we made love in this very house with raw passion and unguarded hearts. Now, the air feels stale. If we happen to touch at night, it's by accident. She sleeps turned away, arms folded tight against her chest, as if hugging herself. I lie on my back, eyes open, listening to her shallow breathing. I know she's not asleep, but neither of us speaks. One night, a memory hits me, the way I once heard her and him. Yes, I heard them. I never confronted her about it, never admitted that I came home earlier than usual and paused in the hallway. The bedroom door was closed, but not quite. They were inside. I heard their hushed laughter, then low moans, the rustle of sheets. That moment seared me from within. I remembered wanting to burst in, to do something. Anything. Instead, I froze. Then I backed away, left the house. Cursed myself for being a coward. That was the day I decided I would never beg or grovel. If I did anything, I'd do it quietly, on my own terms. Shame can push a man to strange extremes. Now, months later, she's trembling in her sleep, nightmares haunting her. Maybe about him, maybe about me, maybe both. I think about calling Jim again to tie up loose ends, but I can't see the point. Whatever happened, happened. The lover is gone, possibly in trouble with the law, possibly bankrupt, possibly worse. My wife's hollowed out, living in a self-made prison of guilt. And me. I wake up every day, do my job, keep the house running. I talk to my son, help him with homework. In the evenings, I record bits of my thoughts. They're calmer now, less raw, more reflective, as if I'm reading about someone else's life. I find I've grown used to the pain. It's become part of me, like a dull ache in the chest that never fully subsides, that doesn't incapacitate me either. One weekend, she tries to bring up counseling. We're in the living room, the TV flickering with some old show neither of us really watches. She picks at her nails, eyes focused on a spot on the coffee table. "Maybe we should talk to someone," she murmurs. "A therapist, or a pastor, anyone. I don't think we can do this alone." I mute the TV, stare at her. "Therapy." I echo. What would I say? That you cheated. I found out. And now we're living in a tomb of secrets. She bows her head, tears pricking her eyelids again. I'm just trying to save whatever's left. A strange calm floods me. "You should have thought of that before," I say. "Before you tore us apart." She closes her eyes. "I know," she whispers. "Believe me, I know. I don't know if therapy could help. I'm not even sure if I want it to help." We're beyond the stage of fixable illusions. I unmute the TV. The sound of canned laughter fills the silence. She gets up, goes to the bedroom, and quietly shuts the door. I stay there on the couch, feeling the old ache coil in my gut. One day, a package arrives. It's addressed to her. No return label. She opens it in the kitchen. I watch her from the corner of my eye. She lifts out a small object, some cheap souvenir from a tourist shop in Chicago. A little keychain shaped like the city skyline. She stares at it, going pale. Then she sees the note underneath, one line. "You thought you could run." She reads it, her hands trembling so violently that she drops the note. She looks at me, terror etched on her face. "What is this?" she manages to whisper. I pick up the note, my heartbeat pounding in my ears. The handwriting is scrawled, unrecognizable, but it's not the same as the lover's neat script. Could it be a prank? A threat from someone who knows about her affair? Or is it Jim, messing with her. My mind reels. She sits down heavily, eyes wide. "Oh God," she mutters. "Oh God." She's on the verge of panic, maybe imagining that he's alive and taunting her, or that someone else has discovered her secret. I tear up the note in front of her. "It's probably junk," I say, trying to sound dismissive. "Some scam to rattle you." She doesn't believe me, but she nods, hugging herself as if she's cold. A part of me wonders if Jim sent that to keep her on edge. If so, he's succeeded. That night, she locks the doors, checks every window. She paces before bed, wringing her hands. "Why won't he call?" she whispers, as if forgetting I'm there. "Why won't he just tell me he's okay?" She's unraveling, step by step. I watch her meltdown, feeling a stab of guilt and triumph all at once. This is what I wanted, right? To make her regret. To make her pay. So why does it feel so empty? Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Days pass. I keep my routine. She remains in this panicked limbo. One evening, after our son falls asleep, she tries to confide in me. "I'm not sure how I'll survive this," she whispers, standing in the hallway. The light above flickers again, that same soft buzz in the filament. I feel like I'm rotting from the inside. The guilt, the worry, the not knowing. I meet her gaze. My voice is low. "You won't know, ever. That's your punishment." The words come out harsher than I intend. But they're honest. She flinches. Then a sad acceptance crosses her features. "I understand," she says quietly. A tear drips from her chin. "If that's what you want me to live with, I will." She turns away, hugging herself. I watch her retreating back, her shoulders trembling. I stay silent. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Sometimes I dream that he comes back, a battered figure pounding on our door, or maybe calling me in the middle of the night. In these dreams, I open the door, and he's there, face bruised, eyes cold with hatred. He tries to speak, but his words are garbled. I wake up in a sweat, my heart hammering. Then I realize it was just a dream. Or maybe a nightmare. But the fear lingers. The stress of these silent nights is taking its toll. I find new lines in my face when I look in the mirror. My hair seems grayer at the temples. My wife's beauty has dulled. Her eyes are puffy, her cheeks sallow. It's like we're both aging faster under the weight of this secret. I still iron my shirts, brew coffee, kiss her on the temple, all out of sheer habit. It's a strange semblance of normality, as though we're performing a ritual for an audience of ghosts. Meanwhile, she has no clue what truly happened to the man she risked everything for, and I have no intention of telling her. Let her mind torment her. Let her think he ran off, or that someone took him. Let her wonder if I had a hand in it. The result is the same. She's living in fear, and I'm free from the humiliations that once clawed at my pride. Asterisk, 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 but am I really free? Late one night, I step outside for some air. The sky is black. The stars faint under the city's glow. My phone buzzes once in my pocket. I pull it out. It's from Jim. "We should meet." Loose ends. My gut twists. I ignore the text. Not now. I walk along the sidewalk, feeling the chill wind on my face. Part of me wants to cut all ties with Jim. Another part warns me that I might need him again. That fear and vengeance are addictive in their own ways. Once you cross a line, it's hard to step back. I stare at the faint silhouettes of houses in the dark. People are inside, living normal lives, maybe oblivious to the secrets in their own walls. I used to be like them. Now I'm not sure what I am. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. She tries again to speak with me about therapy the next day. I'm flipping through a newspaper, not really reading, more just scanning headlines. Her voice trembles as she says, "I found a counselor in town. She specializes in marital issues, trauma, everything we're going through." "We?" I echo, setting the paper aside. "What exactly are we going through, from your perspective?" She opens her mouth, closes it, frustration flickering in her eyes. I betrayed you, she says, voice tight. And now we're both in this mess. Don't you want to at least try to fix it? Or find out if it's even possible? I consider her, my mind wandering to that phone call with Jim. The missing lover. The fact that at night I still record these confessions for my son. Then I stand abruptly. What's there to fix? I say. I'm numb. You're terrified. And we'll never be the same. She looks down. But maybe we can find a new normal. I can't live with this way forever. A surge of anger flares. Why do you get to choose what you can live with? You chose this path when you got into bed with him, I hiss. My voice cracks near the end, but I push on. You don't get to cry your way to absolution. She recoils. Tears flood her eyes again. I force myself to breathe, to calm down. I see how I'm hurting her, but in a twisted sense, I feel justified. She meets my gaze, and I see no defiance now, just deep sorrow. I'm sorry, she whispers. I truly am. She turns and leaves the room. I hear her stifled sobs drifting down the hall. The knot in my chest tightens, but I don't follow her. Eventually, the everyday obligations of life demand our attention. Our son has school events, we have bills, and we have to keep living. So we do. Time marches on, dragging our battered souls along with it. The final confrontation we keep avoiding never comes. Instead, we exist in a fog of indefinite tension. One afternoon, she's upstairs cleaning. I'm in the kitchen, the kettle whistling. The doorbell rings. My pulse quickens. I approach the front door, braced for anything. Maybe Jim, maybe a stranger with a package. But it's just a mail carrier dropping off a delivery. No threat, just a normal moment. I exhale, half laughing at my own paranoia. That's how I live now, anticipating danger behind every knock. Maybe that's the real price I pay. Nighttime. She's dozing on the couch. An old movie flickers on the TV. I watch her from the armchair. Her face has grown thinner, her lips parted as she breathes softly. I recall how she used to look radiant in the morning sun, how I'd wake up just to see her face. That memory stabs at me. I clear my throat. Hey, I say softly. She stirs, blinking awake. What? She asks, voice thick with sleep. You should go to bed, I say. The couch isn't comfortable. She rubs her eyes, sits up. I know, she murmurs. She looks at me, hesitates. Then, voice trembling, she asks, do you hate me, truly? I inhale. I hate what you did, I say. And how you keep lying. Even your silence now is a lie, in its own way. You can't bear to speak the truth of what really happened between you two, how it started, how far it went. I can't stand it. She bows her head, tears forming again. I'm afraid of what you'll do if you hear everything, she admits, her voice quivering. I'm afraid you'll hurt me, or yourself, or worse. I let out a bitter chuckle. Hurt you? You've already ripped me apart, I mutter. Then I stand, flick off the TV. The screen goes dark, leaving us in the dim glow of a single lamp. Go on, get some sleep, I say. We'll talk when we're calmer. She doesn't move at first, just gazes at the floor. Then she pushes herself up. She passes me, brushing my shoulder with hers. Her whisper is almost inaudible. I'm sorry, she repeats, like a broken record. I offer no response. Another week. The standoff continues. But something in her is cracking beyond repair. She's losing weight, hardly sleeping. I can see the shadow under her eyes, like bruises. She moves through the house as if every step might be her last. One evening, after I finish tucking our son into bed, I go to the kitchen. She's standing there, leaning against the counter, a glass of water in her shaking hand. I step closer. You okay? I ask quietly. She exhales raggedly. No, she says, voice trembling. I'm not okay. I lean against the opposite counter, arms folded. We stand like that a moment. Then she blurts out, "I can't stop thinking about him. Whether he's alive, whether he's in trouble, whether he's—" She stops, pressing her lips together. I stare at her. My heart twinges with something akin to pity, or maybe contempt. "You're more worried about him than about us," I ask quietly. Her eyes fill with tears again. "I'm worried about everything," she whispers. "I made a mess of our lives. You deserve better than this. I wouldn't blame you if you hated me or wanted me gone." The rawness of her confession stings. "I already told you I'm done," I say. "But we have a child. We have a life. It's not so simple." She nods, tears spilling over. "I know." We're silent. Then she says something that cracks my shell. "I wish I could trade places with him, so I'd be the one disappearing. Then you could move on, find someone else. You deserve it." My throat tightens. "Don't talk like that." She gives a strangled sob. "I can't help it. I can't live with this guilt. I lied, I cheated, and I don't even know if he's—" She cuts herself off, pressing a fist to her mouth. I swallow. I want to say something to soften the blow, but a part of me still wants her to suffer. So I step back, giving her space. She flees the kitchen, leaving me alone with the hum of the refrigerator and the faint flicker of the overhead light. That night, she's restless in bed again. I hear her sniffling. At last, I can't bear it anymore. "You want me to yell at you?" I say quietly in the dark. "Is that what you need? Some big explosion, so you feel punished?" She inhales sharply. "Maybe," she admits, "because this silence, your calm, scares me. It feels like I'm locked in a room waiting for the roof to collapse." I shift onto my side, gazing at her silhouette in the darkness. "I know," I say. "And maybe that's exactly what I want you to feel." She breaks into sobs, trying to stifle them against the pillow. I close my eyes, letting her cry. My chest constricts, but I stay silent. The final blow comes unexpectedly. It's a Saturday morning, bright and crisp. I'm ironing my shirt, the hiss of steam almost comforting. She's in the living room, rummaging through drawers, cleaning maybe. Then she calls out, voice trembling, "Michael?" I set down the iron, walk in. She's holding a small piece of paper in her hand, one of my half-finished letters to our son. I must have left it in a drawer. Her eyes scan the words I wrote about betrayal, revenge, silence. Her voice is hushed. "What is this?" I step closer, looking at the paper. My own handwriting stares back at me. I wrote about how I orchestrated something to make him vanish, how I used Jim. I let the fury in me plan it all, to bury him without using my own hands. The words are raw, a near confession. I must have typed parts of it, but this particular note is a scrawled draft. A slip of caution on my part, left in the wrong place. She trembles as she reads. "What did you do?" she asks, voice cracking. I try to grab the paper. "Give me that," I say, but she clutches it to her chest, eyes wide with horror. You made him disappear." Her lips tremble, tears gathering. "Oh God." I draw a sharp breath, mind racing. My heart hammers against my ribs. For a moment, I think about lying, but there's no point. She's read enough. She staggers back, eyes never leaving mine. "You did this," she gasps. "I kept thinking it was an accident, or that he ran away, but it was you." I stand there, silent, letting her piece it together. Her face crumples, a mixture of horror and heartbreak. "Why?" she sobs. "I know why, but oh God." She collapses into a chair, burying her face in her hands, the note crumpled in her fist. I step forward, wanting to tear that paper away, but I don't. My voice comes out low, ragged. "I did what I had to do." He thought he could walk into our marriage, take what he wanted, and leave me humiliated. I couldn't let that stand. She looks up, eyes puffy, tears streaking her cheeks. "Michael, do you realize what you've done? You've destroyed us both. I can't ever look at you the same way now." Pain lances through me. "You already destroyed us when you brought him into our bed." I snap. My voice cracks, but I push on. I had to protect what was left of my pride. She shakes her head, tears flinging from her eyes. "This is madness. I betrayed you, yes. But you've done something worse. You," she stops, choking on her own words. "You're not the man I married." I laugh bitterly. "No, I'm not." She shudders, standing abruptly. Her fingers clenched so hard around that paper, I can see her knuckles whitening. "Now what? Are you going to kill me too if I step out of line?" She hisses, voice shaking. That question pierces me. My eyes go cold. "I wouldn't have needed to do anything if you hadn't brought him here," I say quietly. She staggers back, tears streaming. Then she turns and bolts for the bedroom, slamming the door behind her. I'm left standing alone, chest heaving, mind spinning. I collapse into the chair, pressing my hands to my temples, feeling my world tilt off its axis. This is the final truth laid bare. She knows I orchestrated his disappearance, or at least strongly suspects it. The last thread of possible reconciliation frays to nothing. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Hours later, I knock on the bedroom door. It opens slowly. She's sitting on the bed, eyes swollen and red, holding that same crumpled paper. She looks at me like I'm a stranger. She doesn't speak at first. I step in, leaning against the doorframe. My voice comes out hoarse. "I never planned to hurt him physically," I say. "I just wanted him gone." She whites her face. "He's gone, all right." Her stare is hollow. And so am I. Something in her tone stops me cold. "What are you going to do?" She laughs bitterly, tears mixing in. "What can I do? Turn you in? Call the police and say my husband made my lover disappear? That would destroy our son's life. And I still don't know if he's even alive. I don't know anything." I exhale, stepping closer. She flinches. "I'm not going to hurt you," I whisper, feeling a surge of shame. She doesn't answer, just looks at me with a mixture of revulsion and sorrow. Finally, she murmurs, "We can't keep living like this." I lower my head. "No," I agree. She stands, brushing past me in the doorway. "I need space," she says. "Time." She leaves me there, alone in the bedroom that once held our happiest memories. And later her affair. My stomach churns with self-loathing, but also a warped sense of validation. The humiliations are over. Now we just have emptiness. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. We remain under the same roof, for our son's sake. But everything is different. She avoids me unless absolutely necessary. At night, she sleeps in a separate room, the door locked. I don't contest it. I drift through each day like a robot. That quiet sense of control I once felt is replaced by a raw ache in my chest. She knows, and there's no going back. Strangely enough, we're both calmer in a hollow way, as if the worst has come to pass. Maybe this is the natural end of every secret. Once exposed, it can't hurt you the same way. But it also kills whatever illusions remained. She lives in fear. I see it in her eyes. And I live in a strange numbness. But ironically, that numbness is my version of peace. I achieved my revenge, but it cost me the last scraps of love we might have salvaged. Now we coexist. For the boy, for the mortgage, for the facade. Sometimes, when the house is quiet, I recall the man I used to be. I remember my illusions of a perfect marriage. That man is gone, replaced by someone who orchestrated a plan to bury another man's life in secrets and consequences. A man who let his wife fall apart under the guilt and fear of not knowing what became of her lover. I asked for vengeance. I got it. Yet I still feel incomplete. The only difference is, I don't have that humiliating weight in my gut. It's replaced by a different weight, the price of revenge, the knowledge that the woman I married is destroyed inside. And so am I, in my own way. And so we exist, day by day, night by night. She flinches at shadows. I find no comfort in her presence. We might share a roof, share polite words when necessary, but a deep chasm separates us now. Asterisk, 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 one evening. My son is fast asleep, and I hear her moving around in the kitchen. The kettle hisses again. I step in to find her perched on a stool, hugging a mug of tea between her hands. She looks up at me. We regard each other, weary and hollow. She breaks the silence first. I think we should try counseling, she says. Her voice is quiet, subdued. Not for you and me, for our son, so he has a home that's not drowning in tension. I nod slowly, exhaling. Okay, I say. We can do that. She nods back, sipping her tea. And after that, she murmurs, maybe I'll move out for a while. Or maybe you will. We can figure out a schedule so he's not too disrupted. Her voice quivers. I can't keep looking at you and seeing everything. A pang of regret pierces me, but I just nod again. All right. A long pause. Then she sets the mug down, eyes brimming with tears. I loved you once. I swear I did. My throat tightens. I loved you too. She gives a sad, shaking breath. Do you still? I take a moment to answer. I don't know. I'm not sure what love looks like anymore. Her eyes lower. Me neither. A faint beep from the microwave draws our attention. She stands, picks up the tea kettle, and heads to the sink. I remain where I am, arms at my sides. Her shoulders slump, and I think about how she used to stand so tall, so confident. Maybe that woman is gone forever. Maybe the man who adored her is gone too. We part ways without another word. She heads to her bedroom, and I go to mine. The house is still, the clock ticking in the hall, an echo that reverberates like a slow heartbeat. I shut the door behind me. In the darkness, I let out a long breath. Then I walk to my desk, open the drawer, and retrieve my journal. I turn to a blank page. As I begin to write, my mind drifts to the day I discovered her betrayal. Then the day I made that call to Jim. Then the day he vanished, leaving her wrecked with guilt. I write about how a man can hold his head high when pride is all he has left, and how that same man might lose everything else in the process. I don't stop writing for a long time. My heart thuds in my ears. In my mind, I see her crumpled figure on the floor, the tears rolling down her cheeks as she reads my confession. I see the bitterness in my own reflection, how hollow my face has become. At last, I set the pen aside. My hand cramps. I hear the faint sound of her crying through the wall. I close my eyes, letting the quiet fill me. She's in fear, and I'm in a state of numb acceptance. That's our life now. I think about what I told my son in those voice recordings. Love doesn't die from the betrayal itself. It dies from the silence afterward. Here we are, drowning in that silence, hostages to it. I open my eyes, stare at the blank darkness of the room. My breathing is slow, steady, as though my body's finally found some twisted equilibrium. She doesn't know how to survive her lie. I've learned to survive it, but I can't say I've truly lived since then. Maybe, in the end, that's the price for what I did. I accept it, letting the quiet be my companion, letting the ticking clock remind me that time keeps moving, whether or not we heal. Outside, the wind rustles the branches, a lonely hiss against the window pane. Inside, I sit in the dark, listening to her muted sobs, my own heart beating in the emptiness. This is my life. This is my victory. This is my punishment. And I bear it in silence.